A road killer drone done hunted somebody down in them streets without being instructed. Thanks for tuning in to JWTV Show. We're going to take you into a deeper aspect of what's going on here and how they're targeting humans and you and all of us and me, and what specifically can you do about the situation. We're going to talk about that too here live today. But really critically important information coming out here. I'm going to read this article to you. And this is the type rotary wing one that they have, so I'm just going to play this in the background as I talk about this situation. So a rogue drone has went after a human. A deadly drone hunted a human target without being instructed to do so, according to a UN report. The incident took place during clashes in Libya last year, the Daily Star reported. Experts are sounding the alarm about the lack of regulation around using killer robots. A lethal weaponized drone hunted down a human target, and nobody told it to do so. The incident happened in March 2020. Autonomously went to attack a human during a conflict, and so this is the new dawning of the age that we're going to be dealing with. So how can I tell you what they're already doing and how they're going to be detecting who's a threat and who's not? And obviously they're going to go into urban environments and they were going to seek to see who was a threat or who was not. And if you read this, it says DARPA plans to solicit studies that simplify military engagement in urban environments and address the limits of current intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance methods. DARPA said Thursday in a SAM notice in non-escalatory engagement to reduce dimensionality or need capability to reduction of complexities in urban environment. Register. I'm not going to register. See, here it is. Autonomous vehicles determine who or what poses threats in urban environments. These studies will create a library of engagements to guide these vehicles. So that's what they're doing. And all this stuff is ramping up. Just like you've seen on a series Colony where they had the drones come at people and attack them. That's what's going on now. So we've gotten a little too comfortable around this drone age. And how can you actually ghost yourself from the surveillance? That's the question. So that's what we're about to go into here with you. And while we do that, we'll be playing a video clip in the background, and we're going to tell you a little bit, a few key tips about how we can avoid some of this, because nobody talks about much of that. And we're going to also talk about how much surveillance is already happening above us already. Some of these drones are so high up you won't even see them. So I want to go into this right here of ghosting in the age of surveillance. Drones of all sizes are being used by environmental advocates to monitor deforestation, by conservationists to track poachers, and by journalists and activists to document large protests of political sociologists who study social movements in drones. It says I document a wide range of nonviolent and pro-social drone uses in my new book. And it goes down to say, but when the Department of Homeland Security redirects large fixed-wing drones from the U.S. and Mexico border to monitor protests, and when towns experiment with using drones to test people for fevers, it's time to think about how many eyes are in the skies and how to avoid unwanted aerial surveillance. One way that's within reach of nearly everyone is learning how to simply disappear from the view. And basically, we're going to go into a lot of detailed aspect of that. And then I'm going to take you right back to that article so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So let's take you back into that. And this is what I'm reading to you. Somebody who studies drones and all this. So we know how much drones enter crowded airspace. Near future is likely to see even more of these devices. We already know that, and we already know what the future is leading to. But since they're now saying we got attack drones that's hunting people, they only released this stuff for reasons. We already know they've had it, but they released this stuff to get the pretext ready for what's next. And so going into it, public opinion about the use and spread of drones is still up in the air, but drone has sparked numerous efforts to curtail drones. These responses range from public policies. Let's get past the public policies. How to disappear. First thing you can do is to hide from a drone is to take advantage of the natural and built environment. It's possible to wait for bad weather, since smaller devices like those used by local police have a hard time flying in high winds, but not the military grade ones. Dense fogs and heavy rains. Trees, walls, alcoves, and tunnels are more reliable than the weather, and they offer shelter from high-flying drones used by the Department of Homeland Security. Well, if they got the drones in the tunnels, then you're screwed too. So I'm just adding in stuff that I know because I studied a lot of this too. Now, going down, the second thing you can do is minimize your digital footprints. It's smart to avoid using wireless devices like mobile phones or GPS systems since they have digital signatures that can reveal your location. 100% true, because that's how the attack drones come at you, buzz zoom, and it comes in, and then it locates your GPS system. Kaboom! So how many people could actually do that? That's the question. How many people can actually not reveal their location by not using mobile phones and technology once things really go down? Because obviously it hasn't really went down on soil because US doesn't have those drone laws like they have in the Middle East. But once it does go to that level, how many of you are going to be able to put the phone down? How many of you are going to continue to have the phone? How many of you are going to let that be the demise of you? That's the question. I want to see what people say in the comment section. So it says they have digital signatures that can reveal your location. This is useful for evading drones, but it's also important for avoiding other privacy invading technologies. The third thing you can do is confuse a drone, placing mirrors on the ground, standing over broken glass, and wearing elaborate headgear. Machine readable blankets or sensor jamming jackets can break up, distort the image of drone season. Remember, we're saying this for crazy takeover happening, a rogue government, something crazy goes on. Obviously, we're not attacking to say, oh, we're gonna go after somebody. No, we're not doing it. We're just saying defend. Mannequins and other forms of mimicry can confuse both onboard sensors, and the analysts charged with monitoring the drone video and sensor feeds. Drones are equipped with infrared sensors will see right through the mannequin trick, but are confused by tactics that mask the body's temperature. For example, a space blanket. I did a video about the space blanket a while ago. I'll put a link to that below. It's just really loud though, but I mean, it has basically it doesn't show your heat signature. That's why they're saying that. It will mask significant amounts of the body's heat as well as simply hiding in an area that matches the body temperature, like a building or sidewalk exhaust vent. The fourth and most practical thing you can do is protect yourself from drone surveillance is to get a disguise. The growth of mass surveillance has led to explosion and creative experiments meant to mask one identity. But some of the smartest ideas are decidedly old school, low tech clothing is the first choice because hats, glasses, and masks and scarves go a long way towards scrambling drone facial recognition. Now you got to remember though, they have vein recognition now. So even if you're showing your veins, they can recognize your vein. And now they're saying they can recognize your head by vibration movement. So we're in a more advanced invasive society that you have to remember a lot of stuff. And they also say, well, by the way you walk. So I guess everybody needs to change the way they walk sometimes whenever you're in public and don't have that old, same old walk you got, I guess, whenever things go down. Pretty crazy to even think about all that stuff. But it says your gait is as unique as your fingerprint. As gait recognition software involves, it will be more important to also mask the key pivot points used in identifying the walker. It may be the best response in affecting a limp using a minor leg brace or wearing extremely loose clothing. Artists and scientists have taken these approaches a step further, developing a hoodie wrap that is intended to shield owner's head signature. Okay, so basically the hoodie with the RF shielding, they're saying, what shields your head from that. But if you don't have it, then they'll see the vibration in your head, and there's weird stuff where they're just looking at your brain waves and all this stuff, and like, yeah, that's him. We got the digital signature. Yes, and because DARPA do, they got all that stuff, digital signatures. All this stuff is already had. Scrambled facial recognition software and glasses intended to foil recognition systems. And it says keep an umbrella in handy. So that's another thing as well. We just wanted to put out some of this information because the day and age that we're in, man, it's just crazy. Somebody said simple way to change the way you walk is to throw a rock in one of your shoes. Well, that would hurt your feet. Somebody said slaughter bots anyone. I just wanted to put this out though because they're now admitting that the drone wars pretty much are escalating. And since the drone wars are escalating, that means it's important for people to know exactly how this is going to change the aspect of how we live. Remember, it takes one big event to change laws. One big event to change laws, right? Look what happened in 2019, 2020, 2021. One event like that. Let's roll out the drones. Let's roll out this. Let's roll out that. And then that's how quickly society can change. But the biggest change that happens in society is what happens in the minds and hearts of men and women when they study and analyze the behavior that is projected upon them, and how can they protect themselves, and how can they be smart, and how can they use that spiritual power and knowledge to engage in not a battle against men, but a battle in, tactically being smart and just being able to survive, being able to live, being able to get through the current situation, and being able to preserve the knowledge and then give it on to the next generation. That's what's important at this point that we face right now. It's a crazy future ahead, but as we go into the colony style drone invasion type scenario, which we're not being invaded yet, but that's what the observation of this report comes from me is that once they release any type of articles like this, and I've been studying the propaganda tactics for a couple years now, it's just a beta test to get you ready for something else larger. So I just wanted to put that out here quickly today. Thank you for tuning in. It's the Law Report. Please get it out. And the cannibal mice, yeah, I said capital, the capital mice. I put a video out of Cannibal Mice the other day, and it was a YouTube short, so you can check that out if you missed it. And I also put out a video about the two-headed giant Capdewa, which obviously is a giant offspring. He ain't the biggest one. So check those videos out. They'll be on the right, and I appreciate your support. Get this out and let people prepare with the knowledge that we have today. Thanks for tuning in.